Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Red Talking Projections. My name is Lucas, and I have Eric here as always.
Hey guys.
And today, we'll be taking a look at the 2020 Kansas Senate race. We'll be digging deep into the candidates. We'll also be analyzing the polling, looking at what other experts think, and giving our own prediction of who we think will win this election. And this is our second video for today. We hope you enjoyed our video on Val Demings because we didn't do an episode yesterday. Sorry about that. So we're doing two today. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So let's start by giving some context here. Kansas obviously is a deep, deep red state. Has not voted for a Democrat for a very long time, as with most states in the middle of the country. So I think in order to give a little bit more context, we got to go back to the 2018 governor election. This was between Laura Kelly, who is considered to be a centrist moderate Democrat, against Kris Kobach, the former Secretary of State of Kansas, who was highly controversial and unpopular. I think one of them was because of those voter ID laws that were very controversial. Who was actually a candidate for this election. So looking at 2018, Kris Kobach lost to Laura Kelly in this deep red state. So obviously that's really not a good sign. If you're a Republican losing in Kansas, we'll dig into that a little bit more in that portion of the video where we talk about Kris Kobach. But that's the end of the context. Eric, we'll begin talking about Barbara Bollier.
Yep. So Barbara Bollier is running for the Democratic is running for the Senate as a Democrat. She did used to serve as a representative in Kansas' 25th district. That's not too much experience, but at the same time, she also was in the Kansas State Senate, so that did add to her experience. Additionally, in this 2020 election, she is being endorsed by Laura Kelly, so that's definitely going to help her a lot. Yeah, so the important part here is that she's not, just like in Kentucky with Amy McGrath, she's not super democratic. She does have to appeal to the Democratic voters here, which are mostly centrist, and she is a moderate Democrat herself.
Actually, what's interesting is that she actually used to be a Republican. 2018, she switched to a Democrat. So that's actually kind of interesting to see here. So it does help that she is a moderate in that she might be able to drag in those moderate Republican votes, which Erica said. And something else I want to add is, although we might not consider to being a state representative or state senator to be that beneficial, I think it is still a solid experience. She served since 2011 as an elected official in the state of Kansas as a state legislator. So I think that might help her, and I think she is a solid a candidate experience-wise. We're going to now head to Kris Kobach. I'll be discussing Kris Kobach and Roger Marshall. Just to make it clear right now that the Kansas Republican primary has not happened yet. I'm actually not too sure when it's going to happen, but we'll definitely live stream that. But Kansas is an interesting one to watch because Kris Kobach, who does look like at the moment will probably win, but don't take my word for that. Kris Kobach is the current. He is the former Kansas Secretary of State. As Secretary of State, again, he was very controversial. And what essentially makes him look even more worse is that he ran for governor as a Republican in a deep red Republican state against a Democrat. And he lost. That kind of exemplifies how unpopular he was at the time, which he probably still is right now. So that's definitely not a good sign for him. Now, however, here's what's interesting, though. Maybe he does pull out a win. His main opponent is Roger Marshall. Roger Marshall is a representative. We'll talk about him later. But let's talk experience-wise for Kris Kobach. being a Secretary of State of a state, I think that is a relatively good amount of experience. That's, I think, within our middle tier, because it is kind of executive experience, but on the state level. But it's not good if you're losing as a Republican against a Democrat here. Okay, now let's actually head to Roger Marshall here. Now, Roger Marshall here, he is he's a current representative in the state of Kansas, which is a decent amount of experience if you're running for Kansas Senate. So let's dig a little bit deeper into him. I don't think he is a conservative because he is part of both conservative caucuses in the Senate and also, not in the Senate, conservative caucuses in the House, as well as the moderate caucus for the Republicans. So that's interesting to see. I forgot to add some more information. Pat Roberts is the current member in the Senate for Kansas. He is retiring, so this is why there's an opening here for someone to fill. Roger Marshall, it doesn't look like he's going to win right now. He does have a ton of endorsements. Talking about the debate now, during the Kansas Senate debate for the Republicans, Kris Kobach basically got attacked by everyone for his him losing in 2018, and they kind of said, like, oh, you're putting up a failed candidate twice, so it's not really too good for him.
And also,
now,
sorry, I just wanted to say, along with losing to a Democratic governor, he did implement those really strict voter ID laws, which was highly disapproved by many, and he was also attacked for that.
Which is why he's very unpopular. Now, Roger Marshall's, if he wins the nomination, I think he has a very good chance of beating Barbara Bollier. We're going to actually look at the polling now. Marshall leads Bollier in basically every single poll that we see. Civics, 1 point lead against Bollier, although it is better than everyone else because all the other polls show Bollier leading. 11 points over Bollier, conducted in May, so that might be a little bit outdated. Kobach leads by just 1. So let's actually talk about it. Let's actually save that for later. Let's look at fundraising now. Fundraising shows Bollier raising a ton of money here, $7 million.
Wow.
Roger Marshall raising $2 million, and Kris Kobach raising just $822,000. So Barbara Bollier does have a slight edge at fundraising, so we give a little bit of points to her for that. Well, I don't want to say points, but like a little bit higher odds of winning, just slightly though, because fundraising is not always all accurate. So I'd also do want to talk about one more thing, and that is our expert predictions, but the expert predictions, as well as our personal predictions. Looking at the expert predictions right now, lean and likelies across the board. Here's our predictions. Currently, if it's against Kobach, it's between a tilt and a lean, because we got to remember this is Kansas, a deep red state. If Marshall wins, this moves all the way over to a likely solid. He's a lot more appreciated than Kris Kobach is. That's completely for sure. Let's actually look at the impact of this on the Senate map. I will toggle there right now. I'm going to actually plot out all the seats that we have already predicted. I'm going to be disregarding margins here, so please bear with me for that. But we're putting in our predictions from the last prediction episode. So we're going to look at the actual effect of that Georgia Senate race.
Kansas.
Kansas. To be quite honest, I don't think there's too much impact there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, for the sake of this video, leave Montana and Iowa's toss-ups because those are getting pretty close. Let me actually, Oops. But let's discuss the possibility that it goes either way, the state of Kansas. Because I don't think it makes too much of an impact, if I'm remembering this correctly. All right. If the Democrats pick up this many seats, which we think is pretty possible here, and if Joe Biden clinches the presidency, which does look at the moment pretty likely, if Kansas flips to the Democrats, that's helpful. That's an outright majority. This way, they don't need the tiebreaking vote of Joe Biden, and plus, they won't need to worry about the very moderate Republicans like Joe Manchin or Angus King. So this would be helpful for them. Now, if the Republicans win it, it'll also be relatively helpful. But then they have to also pick up Montana and Iowa, which
are very close races, because we have Steve Daines in Montana and Greenfield or Ernst. I'm not sure which one is which in Iowa. So this could end up being a 50-50. It's very possible.
Definitely. Or they can carry Maine or North Carolina. There's definitely different ways to win. But looking at it right now, Kansas might have a little bit of impact in determining an outright majority here. Now, what's the impact of this race on future elections? Honestly, very little. In 6 years, in 2026, I don't think that Barbara Bollier is going to get reelected. Unless, of course, Kansas's demographics swing so much. If that's the case, then maybe she gets reelected.
But we're not we're not really sure about how Kansas is swinging, but for now, it's deep red along with a lot of its surrounding states.
And if Kansas remains deep red, and she isn't against a really bad candidate, it's not going to be likely that she can win re-election. I like to compare this kind of to the Roy Moore versus Doug Jones in 2017. Doug Jones was against a very bad candidate, although I think he is debatably worse than Kris Kobach. And we're seeing the same thing against Bollier and Kobach. So we think it's possible that she does defeat him, but re-election-wise, not really that probable. So our own personal prediction at the moment, again, tilt or lean. If Kobach wins, which it's looking like he will, and if it's a victory for Thurgood. Why did I say Thurgood?
Thurgood Marshall.
Roger Marshall. Then it would be a likely or safe. And that's the end of the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like our content, please subscribe. We'll see you in our next episode tomorrow.
See ya.